Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. A lot of people have been talking about it. These guys have been spotted out. It's according to ESPN. It's according to Eddie Hearn. It's according to Bob Arum, Michael Benson. It's being reported all over the place that Gilberto Ramirez versus Callum Smith is in the works for late 2019. This could be a tremendous fight if it's made, if the deal gets done. And we're just going to break down the fight. I think this is a tremendous fight against two very, very good opponents and two guys who desperately need to unify. Belts to get a bigger name, fame, and more recognition, and just in boxing in general. These are two very good talented fighters, and they just need more publicity. So let's just break down the fight. You start off with Gilberto Ramirez. He has 39 wins, no losses, 25 knockouts. He's 27 years old. He's 6'2.5" with a 75-inch reach. He's a very, very good fighter. If we look at one of his most recent fights, it was against Jesse Hart. He fought Jesse Hart twice. In his most recent fight against Jesse Hart, he won a majority decision over 12 rounds. And then his first fight, he won a unanimous decision over Jesse Hart. The one thing that made me a little off about Gilberto Ramirez in his first fight with Jesse Hart was the fact that I seen him openly hurt in that fight. And Jesse Hart's not an elite level opponent, but he was undefeated at the time. He was a quality guy, but he was just not the level of opponent that I would expect Gilberto Ramirez to get hurt by. But that was the only opponent that I've seen him get hurt by. That's the only opponent that I've seen him have those struggles against. But he went on to get the victory and still dominate impressively over Jesse Hart. And then he came back and beat Jesse Hart again. So I think that, Gilberto Ramirez has shown improvements, has gotten a lot better. He beat a roamer, Alexis Angulo, and who's known as a very strong power puncher. They went 12 rounds, unanimous decision. And, I think he's shown his boxing abilities in that fight as well. So I think Gilberto Ramirez is going to be a problem and a huge challenge for Callum Smith, especially the fact that he has such a long reach, 75 inches, and he's 6'2.5". But if we look at Callum Smith on the other end, he has 25 wins, no losses, 18 knockouts. He's 28 years old. He's 6'3". So that's a very interesting tale because he's a little bit taller than Ramirez. Now, I will say this about Callum Smith. He won the World Boxing Super Series. He stopped George Groves. And I've always labeled Callum Smith as an elite level fighter who just does not get the credit he deserves. He's a guy that I truly believe that's elite. A lot of people say he's not elite. He hasn't proven it. I believe, just giving it the eye test, that this guy has what it takes. I've seen him win the World Boxing Super Series. I've seen him get into very impressive knockouts. I've seen Callum Smith, he's a world champion. He just doesn't have the top signature names on the resume that you would need or require to be an elite level opponent, but he does have world titles. So at this point, I simply think that this fight is a prove-it fight for Callum Smith. It's a prove-it fight for Gilberto Ramirez, and I think they're both very good, very talented fight. I think it's more of a pick-em fight. Lately I noticed in boxing that there's a lot more 50-50 fights coming up. That's possible because, boxing is becoming more and more competitive where people are requiring the best to fight the best. There was a time when you look at these two fighters, I would slightly edge Callum Smith to beat Gilberto Ramirez. But at the same time, Gilberto Ramirez, if he drags him into a dogfight, how will Callum Smith respond? We don't know that. That is still somewhat unknown. So to see these two guys go at it, I think it'll be a tremendous fight. It could go either way. It's a pick'em. And, I just cannot wait to see this fight gets made. It'll be one of the fights of the year. But guaranteed, no matter who wins, they'll come out of this fight as a star. Once again, unbiased as always, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.